What if your greatest wealth wasn't locked inside a vault, but buried inside your soul? What if Psalm 27 wasn't just a prayer, but a blueprint, a secret map whispered through the corridors of time? A call to arms for the brave, the focused, the faithful. Not a quiet verse for comfort, but a fiery anthem for kings, for visionaries, for those bold enough to believe that destiny bends to courage. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? These are not the words of a man hiding from the storm. These are the battle cries of a soul who has stared down lions, betrayal, scarcity, and walked through it all untouched because his heart was on fire with divine purpose. Now ask yourself, what if you lived like that? What if your days were not governed by fear, doubt, or the economy, but by an unshakable belief that nothing and no one could take what was meant for you? The rich, the truly rich, are not always the ones with the biggest houses, but the ones with the clearest minds. They're the ones who've replaced fear with faith, distraction with discipline, and confusion with vision. They know something the average man ignores his whole life: that all success is spiritual before it is physical. Every skyscraper began in someone's imagination. Every fortune began in someone's belief. Every breakthrough began when someone decided to defy the noise of the world and listen to the whisper within. David, the warrior poet behind Psalm 27, wasn't born with gold in his hand. He was born in obscurity, overlooked, underestimated, assigned to tend sheep in silence, but he wasn't just watching animals. He was preparing, training, becoming. The world hadn't crowned him yet, but heaven had already anointed him, and that's you. If you've been hidden, ignored, passed over, it's not punishment, it's preparation. You are not buried, you are planted. You see, Psalm 27 is more than just spiritual poetry. It is the emotional and mental conditioning of a man determined to rise. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. That is the language of mindset mastery, of emotional sovereignty, of psychological wealth. Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose. David called it one thing I ask of the Lord. Both understood the same truth. You become rich the moment your heart aligns with a single, focused, unwavering aim. The man who succeeds is the man who no longer scatters his energy across 1,000 fears. He channels it, directs it, lives with such vivid clarity that even his enemies begin to question their mission. Though war rise against me, yet I will be confident. That is wealth. That is the power that magnetizes opportunities, people, and results into your life, not by chasing them, but by embodying the frequency they are drawn to. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's knowing who you are before the world tells you who to be. And the great paradox is this: once you need nothing external to validate your worth, the world begins to give you everything. You don't chase wealth, you command it by becoming the kind of person it belongs to. The world teaches you to hustle harder, grind longer, compete more ruthlessly. But Psalm 27 whispers a different secret. Wait, not passively, but powerfully. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. This is not about delay. This is about alignment, timing, preparation. When your vision is so pure that impatience can no longer contaminate it, that is when results explode. Think of Thomas Edison minus 10,000 failed attempts to invent the light bulb. He wasn't just persistent, he was aligned with a vision so clear it defied logic. Every failure was a stepping stone, not a setback. Think of Henry Ford, who didn't listen when they said the assembly line was impossible. He waited, not in stillness, but in unshakable belief. Or Walt Disney, fired for lack of imagination, bankrupted, laughed at, until his dream became reality, not because of money, but because of courage, because he saw it when no one else did. Do you see yours? Psalm 27 isn't just about waiting. It's about seeing what cannot yet be seen. I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. That's faith, that's vision, that's wealth, not in theory, but in manifestation. You don't become rich by wishing, you become rich by seeing. By believing so deeply in the goodness that's coming, that your actions start to mirror it, that your words start to prophesy it, that your energy starts to summon it. You wake up and act like it's already yours. You walk into rooms like the deal is already done. You shake hands like you were born to build empires. Because you're not here to survive. You're not here to blend in. You're not here to live in fear of other people's opinions or society's limits. You are here to build something so bold that it echoes through generations. But you must choose. Choose whether you'll believe in lack or abundance. Choose whether you'll live in anxiety or certainty. Choose whether you'll keep hiding behind excuses or step into the arena of your calling. Every empire begins with one man or woman who refused to stay small. And if Psalm 27 teaches you anything, it is this: the light you seek is not out there, it's already in you. When you align your thoughts with that truth, when your mind is no longer a battlefield of fear but a cathedral of purpose, when you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start declaring, "What if I fly?" that is when the floodgates open, not just financially, but mentally, spiritually, relationally. In every dimension of your life, that's how you grow rich. Not through force, but through faith. Not by manipulating circumstances, but by mastering self. Not by following the crowd, but by following the still small voice that says, "This is the way, walk in it." And when you do, when your steps are ordered not by pressure but by purpose, there is no obstacle that can stop you. No rejection that can defeat you. No delay that can deny you. You rise not by luck, but by law, the law of belief, the law of clarity, the law of vibration, the law of faith. Psalm 27 is not a passive scripture. It is a code, a declaration, a daily mindset. When spoken aloud, it recalibrates your nervous system. When believed deeply, it reshapes your habits. When lived fully, it transforms your life. The Lord is my light, so I move boldly. He is my salvation, so I fear no loss. He is the strength of my life, so I rise with power. Every day you wake up with this fire in your chest, UG. And when your heart no longer negotiates with fear, and your mind no longer compromises with mediocrity, you become unstoppable. But becoming unstoppable isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about remembering who you are before the world told you who you weren't. There's a divine blueprint inside of you, a pattern of greatness etched into your soul. Psalm 27 didn't place it there, it reveals it. It strips away the noise, the fear, the distractions, and reminds you that you were never meant to crawl through life, desperate and afraid. You were designed to build, to create, to multiply, to lead. When the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and my foes who will stumble and fall. That isn't just poetic defense, it's a mindset of certainty, of inner authority. When your vision is divine, resistance is inevitable. But defeat is impossible. Let them rise against you. Let them speak. Let the odds stack. If the fire inside you burns hot enough, no external storm can put it out. Every great builder knew this. Every titan of history was tested by this fire. Lincoln lost more elections than he won, until the one that mattered. He led not because the world approved of him, but because he refused to be broken by it. His purpose was forged in adversity. Andrew Carnegie, the Steel King, born poor, raised in a one-room house. But he saw wealth not as privilege, but as stewardship. He aligned his thoughts with abundance, not scarcity, and in doing so, changed the economy of an entire age. These men, like David, didn't pray to escape the battle. They prayed for the courage to endure it, and in that strength, they became rich. Not just in dollars, but in legacy. That's what Psalm 27 offers you: legacy wealth, soul-level prosperity. The kind of riches that outlive the flesh, that echo through your name, your impact, your story. But there is a cost. You must leave behind the addiction to comfort. You must abandon the illusion that someone else is coming to save you. You must kill the noise, the opinions, the doubts, the delays, the indecision, and choose to walk with unwavering intent. One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. That house isn't a building, it's a state of being. To dwell in divine presence is to live from divine power, to act from conviction, not confusion. To show up every day, rain or shine, knowing that your steps are backed by eternity, that's how rich people think. Not the shallow rich, not the empty elite, but the ones whose wealth starts in the spirit and flows outward into creation. They are not trying to get, they are trying to give. They are not chasing, they are becoming. When you embody Psalm 27, you stop living life like a beggar and start walking like an heir. You are not knocking on locked doors, you are building your own gates. You're not waiting for permission, you are giving yourself the command. For in the day of trouble, he will keep me safe in his dwelling. He will hide me in the shelter of his sacred tent and set me high upon a rock. That rock is your uncheckable self. That sacred tent is your focused mind. That shelter is your vision, because a man with vision can walk through any storm and not flinch. Vision is the shield, vision is the path, vision is the wealth before the wealth, and yet most live without it. They drift, they react, they copy, they compare. They scroll their way through life hoping something will happen. But wealth doesn't happen, vision happens, discipline happens. Faith happens and then the world responds. Most people chase money, the rich, the truly rich, chase mastery, depth, purpose, legacy. And from that mastery, the wealth flows like a river. Look at Elon Musk, not a man obsessed with money, but with impact. Whether you love or hate him, he is undeniable. He dares to think in galaxies, and that's why wealth follows him. Look at Oprah, born into trauma, shaped by pain, yet she turned her voice into a weapon for truth, for healing. She didn't just make billions, she became a force, a lighthouse. What about you? What pain can you alchemize into power? What rejection can you turn into redirection? What fear can you transmute into fire? That's the question Psalm 27 dares you to ask, not what do I want, but what must I become to receive what's already mine? Because wealth is not a pursuit, it's a permission. And permission begins with alignment. When your values align with your vision, when your actions align with your words, when your time aligns with your purpose, you become a magnet for abundance. But when you're scattered, split, doubting, waiting, the world doesn't respond because you haven't committed. Teach me your way, Lord. Lead me in a straight path because of my oppressors. This is the cry of every great achiever. Show me how to walk in alignment, not crooked by fear, not twisted by ego, but straight, like an arrow pulled back, aimed at a future too glorious to miss. Success is a spiritual path. It's not paved with shortcuts, it's carved with clarity. You want to grow rich, then you must grow clear. Clarity of purpose, clarity of identity, clarity of aim. And from that clarity, a force emerges. You walk different, you talk different. You enter rooms and shift atmospheres, not because of status, but because of presence. You know who you are, you know what you're building. You know where you're going. And the world, consciously or not, makes way for those who carry that kind of fire. You become a leader not by title, but by energy, not by control, but by conviction. And the currency of the new world, the real currency, is not dollars, but certainty. People follow those who are certain. People buy from those who are certain. People promote, hire, marry, and invest in those who are certain. Because certainty is rare, certainty is holy. Certainty is magnetic. Psalm 27 isn't just a collection of verses, it's a furnace where certainty is forged. I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. That is not a wish, that is a decision. That's the kind of belief that bends time. That's the kind of fire that attracts riches. That's the kind of power that makes history look back and say, there was a man or a woman who walked with God and became a legend. Not because they were special, but because they believed. Belief is the beginning of all wealth. Not belief in the economy, not belief in trends. Not belief in what the world says is realistic, but belief in something deeper. Something eternal, something unshakable. Psalm 27 does not simply offer poetic comfort, it gives you the mental armor required to walk through fire. Because belief is not fragile, true belief can take a hit. It can be doubted, mocked, delayed, and still remain unmovable. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. That is the voice of a man who has been abandoned and yet still stands tall. Who has walked alone and still walks forward. That is what you must become. Because the path to wealth, real wealth, is a lonely one at first. It is lonely when you say no to the parties and yes to the late nights of building. It is lonely when you walk away from old friends who love comfort more than growth. It is lonely when you choose focus in a distracted world. But you are not forsaken, you are being forged. There is a divine loneliness in becoming who you were meant to be. And it is sacred, you must be willing to be misunderstood. To be laughed at, to be doubted, because before the applause comes the silence. Before the breakthrough comes the pressure. Before the overflow comes the emptying out. So be emptied, be refined, let the fear be burned away. Let the weakness be exposed, let the false identities die. Because on the other side of that fire is you, the real you. The one who walks into boardrooms with purpose. The one who creates wealth from vision, not desperation, the one who can lose everything. And still smile, knowing nothing truly valuable can ever be taken from you. That is spiritual sovereignty, that is financial resilience. When your roots go deep enough, no storm can rip you out of the ground. That is what Psalm 27 is offering you, not a shallow hope, but deep roots. Roots in faith, roots in purpose. Roots in a fire that does not flicker when the winds rise. Because listen carefully, life will test you. It will test your resolve. It will push on every weak point. It will strip away every illusion, and it is supposed to. Because the wealth that lasts, the legacy that endures, is built only by those who have passed the test. That is why Psalm 27 does not say, I might be confident. It says, I will be. Will is everything. Will turns pain into power. Will turns delay into development. Will turns rejection into redirection. And will turns a man into a mountain, immovable, undeniable, rising above the noise. Do you have the will to grow rich? Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Because the world does not need more wealthy cowards. It does not need more rich men with poor hearts. It needs men and women who are full of vision, full of gratitude, full of courage, full of fire. And that kind of fullness only comes from one place, inner alignment. You cannot build external wealth from an internal wasteland. You cannot build a business when your mind is at war with itself. You cannot lead a movement when you have not led yourself. So go inward, clean house, burn the excuses, confront the lies. And step forward with a spirit so clear, so lit up, so grounded in divine truth that even hell itself cannot shake you. My heart says of you, seek his face, your face, Lord, I will seek. That is the difference between a rich life and a wasted one. What are you seeking? Are you seeking fame or fulfillment? Are you seeking validation or vocation? Are you seeking applause or alignment? Because you will always become what you consistently seek. If you seek truth, you will become powerful. If you seek clarity, you will become decisive. If you seek God, not in religion, but in relationship, you will walk with the kind of presence that causes opportunities to chase you. You will not have to beg. You will not have to fight. You will not have to manipulate. You will attract. Because your life will be a frequency of focus, discipline, faith, and fire. And the world cannot ignore that forever. They may doubt you now. They may overlook you now. But if you keep showing up with conviction, if you keep walking in integrity, the day will come when the same people who laughed will listen. The same ones who dismissed you will quote you. The same ones who walked away will wonder how you made it through, and you will not even need to explain. Because your life will speak for itself. That is wealth. That is the silent power of the man or woman who lives by Psalm 27. That is what it means to uncover hidden power, not to suddenly find something you did not have, but to remove everything that has hidden it. You were never broken, just buried. You were never lost. Just misaligned. You were never without power. You just forgot where it was. So today, remember the fire. Remember the truth. Remember the vision that never really left you. It just got quiet under the weight of life. But now it rises again. Because you are not here to survive this world. You are here to change it. You are not here to beg for scraps. You are here to command the feast. You are not here to live a life that makes sense to others. You are here to live a life that makes impact for generations. And the doorway to that life is not out there. It is within you, and it is unlocked by faith, clarity, discipline, action, and belief, all of which are already buried in the words of Psalm 27, waiting for you to awaken them. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. This is not the kind of waiting that weak men do. This is not passive. This is not sitting on the sidelines hoping that life gets better. This is a warrior's waiting. It is the stillness of a soldier sharpening his sword in silence. It is the pause before the lion pounces. It is the deep breath before a revolution. You are not idle. You are becoming. You are not delaying. You are developing. Because in this sacred kind of waiting, something is growing underground. Roots are stretching deeper. Vision is being refined. And what cannot be rushed is what will one day rise and reign. Do not rush your rise. Do not despise the season where nothing seems to be happening. Because that is the season where everything is happening inside you. This is where discipline is born, and discipline is the bridge between your dream and your destiny. Without discipline, your desires become distractions. Without discipline, your gifts turn into gimmicks. Without discipline, your potential becomes pain. But with discipline forged in silence, in solitude, in sacred patience, you become the kind of man or woman who cannot be shaken. Not by failure, not by delay, not by betrayal. Because you have trained your soul to trust something greater. You have trained your body to obey your spirit. You have trained your mind to submit to the fire of your purpose. That is the power Psalm 27 points to. Not a soft hope, but a sharp one, not comfort, but courage. Not ease, but endurance. You do not grow rich by chance. You grow rich by character. You grow rich by clarity. You grow rich by committing to a standard even when the reward is not yet in sight. This is what separates those who wish from those who win. The ones who win wait with faith. They act without applause. They move without a map. They believe before the evidence arrives. Because they know their source is not circumstance. Their fuel is not approval. Their foundation is not popularity. Their foundation is Psalm 27. Unshakable trust, focused confidence, divine guidance. You are not here to ask the world for permission. You are here to stand so boldly in your calling that the world has no choice but to make room for you. But that starts now, not tomorrow, not when it is convenient, now. Now, while you are still doubted. Now, while no one is clapping. Now, while the numbers do not yet reflect the greatness inside of you. You do not wait to believe once it is obvious. You believe until it becomes obvious. And when you do, when your belief becomes your behavior, when your purpose becomes your practice, when your vision becomes your vibration, you begin to magnetize the kind of success no man can manufacture. Because it is built on something eternal. This is not law of attraction in the way the world teaches it. This is law of alignment. It is spiritual law. It is ancient law. It is the law of what you sow, you reap. What you dwell on, you develop. What you commit to, you conquer. And the richest man is not the one who owns the most. He is the one who masters himself. Master your thinking and you will master your results. Master your emotions and you will master your energy. Master your discipline and you will master your destiny. Everything you want is waiting behind the man or woman you are afraid to become. And Psalm 27 is not here to make you feel safe. It is here to make you dangerous, to fear, to limitation, to mediocrity. Because when you know who walks with you, you stop negotiating with fear. You stop asking for less. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You start walking into every room like you belong. You start speaking like your voice carries fire. You start building like time is on your side because you are aligned with something beyond time. You become a vessel, you become a channel. You become the kind of presence that changes lives, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. And from that identity, the wealth flows, not only the money, but the influence, the impact. The inner peace, that is true prosperity. That is the hidden power of Psalm 27, not only to calm your storms, but to ignite your greatness. But hear this clearly, greatness has not come to the comfortable. It comes to the called, and those who are called must be consecrated, set apart, focused, unwavering, clear. You do not chase riches, you become worthy of them. By becoming the person who can be trusted with abundance. By becoming the person who does not fold under pressure. By becoming the person who still gives when no one is watching. That person is already within you. But they must be awakened. They must be fed. They must be chosen. So choose today, not safety, but sovereignty. Not the easy path, but the elevated one. Not a life of just enough, but a life of overflowing influence. Because the God who gave you Psalm 27 is the same God who planted the dream in your heart. And He does not lie. He does not forget. He does not abandon. He builds in silence, in darkness, in the sacred waiting, so that when you rise like a mountain. You rise like a kingdom. You rise like wealth was your birthright all along. Because it was, and now it is time to claim it. What if the delays were never denials, but divine design? What if the doors that closed were never rejection, but redirection? What if the valley you have walked through, alone, uncertain, unseen, was not punishment, but preparation? You see, Psalm 27 does not whisper comfort in your weakness. It shouts power into your soul. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Not just a verse, but a verdict on every lie that has kept you playing small. A death sentence to every excuse that says you are not enough. A declaration to the universe that you will no longer bow to fear, you will rise with fire. There is a moment in every life where the soul must decide. Will I live by default or by design? Will I be led by fear or by faith? Will I spend my life reacting or creating? The richest men in history, the boldest builders, the clearest thinkers, the fiercest leaders, did not wait for conditions to be right. They decided the world would bend to their will. They declared that their life would reflect their inner vision, not external noise. Carnegie was not handed a throne, he forged it from steel and sweat. Lincoln did not emerge from peace, he was carved by conflict, betrayal, and heartbreak. Ford was not approved by the masses, he was mocked, dismissed, ridiculed, until the Model T rolled off the line and changed history. And you have that same spark. You were not made to watch history. You were made to write it. But here is the hard truth. You cannot rewrite history until you rewrite your identity. You must decide. No more self-doubt. No more hiding. No more shrinking. No more waiting for someone else to give you permission to become who you already are. You are the storm. You are the fire. You are the voice that changes everything when it finally believes itself. Stop rehearsing your limitations, start rehearsing your power. Because Psalm 27 is not just an ancient poem. It is a blueprint for unstoppable men and women. Men and women who walk through loss and still build legacy. Who stare down betrayal and still choose to trust again. Who feel fear and move anyway. Who walk through deserts and find springs in their own spirit. This is the gold no one talks about. This is the wealth you cannot fake. This is what attracts real abundance, not desperate hustle, but divine alignment. There is a frequency that creates wealth, Not because of strategy alone, but because of substance. And that substance, that core, is you, finally aligned. Not with trends, not with followers, not with quick fame or viral moments, but aligned with truth, aligned with God. Aligned with your assignment, because when your heart beats in rhythm with your mission, money becomes a servant, not a master. It shows up to support, not to seduce. And it flows to you, not because you chased it, but because you became the kind of person it was always meant to find. The world has told you for too long, chase the money. But Psalm 27 says, chase the mission. And the wealth will chase you because money flows where purpose leads. Money flows where courage lives. Money flows where integrity reigns. But more than that, peace flows. Legacy flows. Generational healing flows. Impact that outlives your name flows. And all of that starts with one final decision: to stop doubting and start declaring. Say it now, say it with your chest. Say it from the depths of your soul, even if your hands still shake. I will not fear, I will rise. I will wait, but I will not waste. I will walk as one already chosen. Because you are, this is your time. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are not behind. You are exactly where God has placed you to awaken, finally, to the wealth already within you. Now move like the answer is already yes. Move like you are already favored. Move like heaven has already endorsed your name. Because when you uncover the hidden power of Psalm 27, you stop surviving and you start ruling.